Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. My name is Neil. We are in the new and improved Grandma's Couch studio, thanks to the dedicated work of the team at SFJ4x4.
It's actually a studio now.
It is. It was actually a studio before. I mean, it's like a
No,
home.
it was a corner of the shop that we put some furniture in and called a studio.
Well, and that was an
This
upgrade
is-
before the previous studio, which was the CJ6.
That's true.
Keep moving forward. That's the Simpson Family Jeep way, right?
Yes.
Goodness. I am joined in Grandma's Couch studio with the revered, decorated, oftentimes
Go ahead, continue.
ambitious. Ambitious. That kind of describes what our studio build was in the
Always.
6 weeks that
Yes.
we took a break for. And big thank you to people that I saw out. I actually managed to get out to a number of regional Jeep events and a number of our listeners. So if you came up to me at one of those shows and you asked about it and said, "Hey, I can't wait for you to come back," thank you. We are back. We are not planning any big breaks until, kind of our March to Christmas necessarily. But from there, obviously, we'll have a couple days off in the process, or podcast off. But we're going to bring you the latest, greatest Jeep and automotive enthusiast content, trending, pushing for number one in the universe as voted by my mom. So
Oh, nice.
no problem. But anyways, who am I joined with in the studio per the usual?
The mad scientist, Scott Brown.
Old Doc Brown,
And Jeff Shermani.
the Italian stallion.
And I'm just going to jump into the comments real quick because we have a ton of them coming in. Joe O'Brien saying welcome back. Chuck saying welcome back and making Mondays great again. And then Chuck realizing the new studio going, ooh, fancy. And then Diana saying good morning, love the new studio. And Bill, wow, nice change. Now, there is also this spot on the wall.
Jeffrey's motioning behind us.
Yes.
Which is a tape project, arts and crafts project by Davey the Savage Thompson, who's off screen because, quite frankly, he's got a face and voice only a mother can love. But
We're going to leave it a surprise as what's actually going to go there. But he, in the meanwhile, wanted to hang a Jeep grill. And I said, no, because Neil will love that. And if we hang something he loves, you're not going to get what you want there.
You have to make it ugly.
And he said, well, let me ask Neil about it and see what he thinks. He goes and asks Neil. Neil goes, no, leave it ugly or else you're not going to get what you
So
want there.
He took that as a challenge.
yes, and he made it as ugly as possible. I'm a firm believer, if you've gotten to know me at all, that like we grow through discomfort, right? If we're comfortable, we're not growing. And so, if you decorate in your house and you go, well, I've lowered my standard and that's good enough, then you eventually become acclimated to it, right? In the back of your brain can always be like, oh, well, I would have liked blah, right? But behind me, so behind Grandma's actual couch, and if you don't understand that reference, you're going to have to go back to like season 2 or 3. If you're one of the first time joining us, A, thank you. B, you're going to have to go back and figure out about the kind of the cool seats that we're sitting on.
Why we're sitting on what we're sitting on.
We're sitting on, right? So we're on Grandma's couch and Scott's on the Jeep seat in the process. But behind me on the new focal wall, which for those of you who are listening at home, is this beautiful pallet wood construction. A huge shout out to Jeffrey and Davey specifically. They were the chief contractors on this project.
Yes.
It's kind of the neat thing about SSJ 4x4 is largely built by the individuals that you see, hear, talk to, so on and so forth. And
Which it started the age-old question, can Jeff build it? Yes, he can.
yes, you can.
Oh,
Jeff the
man.
Builder.
Jeff
Yes,
the
you can.
Builder.
If you're on
Jeff the
Patreon,
Builder.
Davey did a great teaser of the build process,
Yes.
and he used the Bob the Builder music for that. So
And maybe we'll release that to the general public, but we do want to take a moment to recognize those
We just need
Patreons.
someone to sing the song. Just
No.
Hint.
No. No. You recognize our Patreons for making this opportunity possible and, and continuing to be that dedicated support. Obviously, all of our listeners, we encourage you to join Patreon, get a little extra inside information on the I Speak Jeep podcast and SSJ 4x4 in general. But we have this nice pallet wood wall. As we go behind Scott, we've got a half pallet wood, half finished wall. A beautiful sign that Davey made in large part. Jeffrey helped him, but Davey built that sign, some nice decorations. We just kind of continue to reinvest, plow back as you guys continue to support us and give us feedback and, share with us that your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. We merge those into our own and kind of put proof in the pudding that we're here to stay. We're here to entertain and inform, and make relevant this awesome Jeep lifestyle that we all know and love.
Well, and back to the comments, we've got Roy saying good morning, Amy saying welcome back, Justin saying good morning, and then Joe saying studio looks like a man cave and it looks good.
Good morning to all of you. Yeah, I mean, it's, I think, I'll be honest, Davey saw a lot of the vision in the studio. We're not done. Obviously, as I mentioned, this tape project, arts and crafts project behind Jeffrey and I, we have something that we want to go there, but realistically, I'm just going to put it right out there. It's going to cost us about $600-700. And at this exact moment, that $600-700, we'd rather, put back into quality lighting, quality sound, things for, our listeners who are listening to us globally. And so there were some minor upgrades and some processes to just make our delivery experience better, and so therefore your consuming and listening experience better. But if anybody wants to step up and help with that mystery project for Davey, we will gladly recognize that and kind of give you might give you some sponsorship or naming rights in the process. You know what I mean? So it's just something to noodle on. You want to put out $600-700 and contribute to Grandma's Couch Studio? Well, and we might take that.
I just got a message. I believe it is one of our listener and Patreon's birthdays today.
Oh, and
so that is Dan Connect.
Oh,
happy birthday
absolutely,
to Dan.
And happy birthday, Dan. He owns he's in part Eugene and Clyde. Those are the two big Jeeps that people may recognize on some of our builds. Actually, I think Joel owns Eugene. That was the Jeep that was on the cover of the NPR Travel America series a year or two ago. So very cool there.
And Jerry is picking out details and saying he loves the new studio. Kudos. And the jack stands under the brown couch rear seat are really cool.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yes.
And on the birthday note, I wanted to make sure I wish my wife a happy belated birthday, but her birthday was yesterday.
Yeah, she's obviously a dedicated supporter too, and she jumps in the comments and everything.
Justin wants to know where he can help us at.
Oh, we're gonna let you know. Our people will contact your people, right? We'll put up a donation run to help on that special project that Davey wants to tackle for behind us on this focal wall.
We'll just get a sad face, Davey.
I do have a gift for the studio to kind of commiserate with.
Commiserate?
I
think he was trying to say commemorate.
Commemorate, yeah.
I think he was when he pulled the Scottism. They would not
Whatever.
be. That would not be.
Distract yourself with what I actually did.
Ooh, that is cool.
Shiny objects distract him.
Oh,
Yes.
That is great. So Jeffrey is passing out. If you've listened, Jeffrey and his wife Kristen dabble professionally, personally, pseudo hobbyist to professionalism with laser engraving and burning. And so he handed us this really nice chuck. Looks like a chunk of wood. Looks like a pine tree. Doesn't smell pine tree-ish. I don't know what this is. Anyways, I think they're coasters, right? Think coaster
Part of
size.
a log.
Yeah, I think coaster size. And on one side, it says I Speak Jeep, and it has that kind of iconic Willys silhouette. Then flip it to the other side, and it has the American Hustle with a nice American flag laser burned into the wood, coaster style.
Now, I did not get a chance to put any protectant on it, like a polyurethane or anything. But
we're not using it as a coaster just yet, is what I heard.
Correct. But I wanted to make sure we had them for the show today. So
yeah, and thank you for that, and probably Kristen as well for the use of our equipment and programs and whatnot. And if you are unaware, we do have a secondary podcast called The American Hustle, which is all about leadership, entrepreneurship, personal development, and just flat out being a good person. So kind of the two primary podcasts and opportunities that this studio will continue to support. But additionally, where this really is intended to benefit you, our listener, one of the things, because we are a functional and arguably, I like to say the highest are the best functional Jeep experts in the nation. We have work that's going on, and we need to be able to move through our projects in the shop. Additionally, because we go live and try to share with your viewing audience, and of course our listeners understand you can always join us live most Mondays 10:19 a.m. But because we are doing this in our functional workspace, sometimes it's challenging to get good quality sound without a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the background. Or if there is work to be done, deliveries that have happening, people stopping in to drop off Jeeps, we're really trying to minimize distractions and interruptions to our program for you. And additionally, one of the challenges getting guests in the past has been that, arguably it's hard to do stuff on Monday morning. People are just starting their work week, or they're taking a long weekend or whatever. And so ideally, the benefit to the podcast studio will be that whenever a guest is available, our intention is to be able to bring them in. So if it's a Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m., whatever, I don't care, that we'll be able to come in and we'll be able to kind of flip a couple switches and do a quick 15-20 minute special interest story with them. They can tell us about their brand, their experience in the automotive industry, a cool trail, a cool product they're releasing, whatever it is. We'll take that home. Jeffrey, our audio specialist and producer, will be able to cut that down into kind of, again, a special interest story where we will be able to relay that to you, our listener and live viewing audience. Now, arguably, they won't be live for that interview. We still would love to have that be a thing, but the challenge is just it's hard to get those guests in on Monday. So this is our way to try and make that possible for you, to increase our content and relevancy for you, so that those experiences that oftentimes we have when a rep or a manufacturer or an individual who has a really cool Jeep, history, is in our area or available to talk. Now we're able to bring that to you, our listener and viewer. So that will be one of the big benefits to the studio specifically.
And Joe Brilla's saying, "Wow, classy joint, looks better than my living room." And then Fred,
Jeff is available for hire on Thursdays and Sundays, folks.
Thursdays.
Wednesdays. Scott's. Don't hire Scott to contract for you.
No.
Do interior contracting.
I could weld it.
Yeah, you could weld for them, but this is all wood framing and decorating. Davey really saw a vision here, and we tried to let him. It's the whole studio as a whole is a nice conglomeration and representation of all of the people that are kind of critical to the day-to-day operations. I thought that was really neat.
Oh, even Greg came in and gave some insight and thoughts on it.
Oh, he was bringing tools in and he's sharing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He can't help but get involved in that kind of stuff. So, no doubt.
And then Fred Moda said good morning as well. So.
Good morning. Yeah, we got a great group of people joining us. And again, if you're listening and you're driving truck or working on the assembly plant or typing in your office, we appreciate that you have prioritized this podcast as part of your routine. And we hope that you find it informative and entertaining. And we encourage you. You can either jump on live on Mondays or share the message with a friend and keep on listening. We thank you for kind of keeping the world going around in the auto community.
So my wife jumped in and said, it's a trade that I'd go help, but they have to help us with other projects.
Oh, boy.
And then
take that off the table.
Scott said, looks great, guys.
Yeah, take hiring Jeffrey off the table, just so you know. I know what his project list looks like at home.
Yeah.
So, as usual, some of our...
No, Joe, they're not good seats for taking naps.
Joe Brilla?
Yeah.
Wants to know if these are good nap couches?
Yeah.
Joe, you sat in the best nap couch when you were in last. That
is true.
That long couch there, I absolutely have caught some Z's on that couch in the past before. So
we should really...
Late nights, early mornings.
We should tease what's even going to be in this episode quickly. So when we get to our main topic, we're going to talk about the art of a build. And what we've planned is that the next several months, the first Monday of every month, we're going to have an art series, basically, and we'll get into that as we get to this topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of this episode, we do have a special activity planned that Neil came up with for us, so we'll see what that looks like at the end.
For sure. As far as oftentimes people share that they like our updates. They like knowing what's going on in our our lives, automotive or not. Obviously, we have all built or bought Jeeps, right? We'll be actually talking about that today in our topic. And as far as our weekend updates, right? What's going on in your guys' lives?
So I can't remember exactly where I had left it at with the 36 Ford build, but it is running, driving, and we are over 500 miles on it, or actually inching on 1,000 miles on it. Actually driving it today, so that's exciting. And I've had lots of questions of, are you going to put hubcaps on it? Are not going to put hubcaps on it? Are you going to finish the car or not finish the car? Is it a rat rod? Which I cringe. So
I like the rat scene, but
Yeah.
traditional hot rod and rat scene are different,
yeah,
right?
totally different. So we've actually, me and my wife, in the SFJ mantra over ambitious, we went and bought a bunch of fabric. So we will be upholstering seats, headliner, door panels, all that ourselves, even though we've literally never done it. We've already done the carpet. We did that while we were off air, and that came out actually pretty well. I'm very happy with how that came out. So we'll see how that happens. We probably will wait until driving the car is a little less pertinent to start, but we'll see how it goes.
So as a question, I know one of the things we had talked about potentially, as it's getting a little cooler, but we can count on another 6 to maybe 8 weeks of drive time, right?
Yep.
What have you done about heat? Are you still going with just the hot gaseous exhaust fumes that are going
no.
to come into the car? What?
No, so it does actually have a hot water heater that I planned from the start, and that is all installed and hooked up except for the blower motor. So I need to get that wired in, so we can actually have blowing air across.
Right
the
now, you
floor.
just have a radiator pumped into the tow board or something.
Yeah,
Basically.
and it's got an on-off valve underneath the hood that right now is off, but we do have heat and we have windows. The kids were very happy with that. We went to our local car cruise last night, and the lake wind was coming right off the lake. It was pretty actually chilly, and we were able to roll up all the windows and go home actually pretty comfortable. So that was kind of nice. Setting your standards real low at the beginning of the cruising season with no windows, no back window.
I love that. Like, that's what took to make them happy. It was just, we have windows.
Yes.
Right? We're just
Yes.
out of the wind. You
Yes,
know,
100%.
which is fine, because I've lived in right at the end of the season, I picked up a cheap JKU, and I've just had no top on it, and I've lived topless all summer, and done a lot of highway driving with that, so I can kind of commiserate.
Yes.
As part of my daughter's birthday celebration, we took some of her friends home, first time on the highway with the Jeep with the top off, and they were like, these little girls' hairs go, it's crazy, you know, and it's pretty second nature for my family. In fact, my daughter probably takes it for granted at this point.
Yeah.
She's like, I kind of want to ride with mom. Her Jen's Jeep is always covered,
Yeah.
Might as well be a minivan.
Well, it was funny. My daughter actually had a birthday party she attended yesterday, and dropped her off and picked her up in the car. And this little boy's like, "You got one of those old timey cars."
Old timey cars.
That's funny.
Scott's grandpa nature, knows no bounds.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was a compliment to him.
Yeah,
Right?
I thought I was here for it. It's fine.
Oh goodness, excellent. And obviously, your metal shop is producing well, both
Oh yeah.
both personally and professionally.
Yep. And if you're on our Patreon, you on the Discord, you got to see some pictures of that just last week.
Yeah,
So-
a lot of cool stuff, and we thank you for that, and kind of the diversity that you've brought our build shop in that process.
Yep.
If you want to follow along Scott's Instagram page and his Facebook page,
Yep.
he does a lot of updates when it comes to metal work, and obviously the interior piece I think is really cool, because
Yeah, that's gonna be like a whole nother build onto itself.
that's a whole new a whole new bag.
Yeah.
Anybody knows interior, especially when you want to do a good job. That's tough. You
Yep.
know, it's tough. Jeffrey.
So just enjoying summer for the most part. We've had been a lot of different activities, kayaking, things like that. Also working with the nonprofit stuff. We've got the next competition coming up September 28th. So kind of crunch time on that. In fact, after the episode today, I'm going to the qualifiers meeting where we're going to determine who's actually moving forward and competing.
Now, last year it happened in April. Is there a date?
This year.
This year it happened in right.
There was a singer-songwriter, so all original music in April. This one is a covers only, so it's got to be cover music.
And when is that happening?
September 28th at Room 33 in Erie.
It's this month.
Yes.
This
Like I
is the
said,
month
we're getting
in.
down to crunch time for it. So
Yeah. So this is the planning you're doing is for the nonprofit for this week, for this month, and that's Headley's Heartstrings, which
Yep.
is a lending library for people who are want to experiment with musical inclinations.
Yep.
And it's in memoriam or honor of your cousin,
Correct.
who was a dedicated musician in the northwestern Pennsylvania tri-state area.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very cool. And a couple of people have said stuff in passing. And we're gonna dig this one up out of the archives. Where is your camper? What's happening with the pirate ship?
It is in the backyard. The kids still use
It's a
it
clubhouse.
It's literally a clubhouse right now.
They've commandeered the camper.
It was a mutiny.
Yeah.
It was a mutiny.
It honestly, we had so much going on with after Xander's eye injury, and then I had the neck surgery, and it just this year we're like, it's just gonna live in the backyard. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just gonna take it easy this year, and that's what we've done.
Yeah. Just kind of like spend that, reinvest in family time and, and just kind of be there with them. Now, with that said, there is something you've been doing that's specifically kind of Jeep adventure related, right? I feel like it's part of the Jeep lifestyle. And the manner in which we use our Jeeps is not always off-road, which is cool, but you've been doing a lot of drive-in movie theaters with your Jeep, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you have kind of a special setup with your Conestoga wagon.
Yep. So I literally take the back window out of it and drop the tailgate. We put mattress pads in there and blankets.
So just so our listeners at home know, when we reference the Conestoga wagon, Jeffrey has one of those Best Top fabric toppers.
Yep.
And so he's driving his JT, which is the world's most relatable JT ever. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it's something out of the Matrix. Like if you were to clone like the one thing that everybody's like, oh, that's so cool, which is like the lamest JT truck as far as I've ever seen.
When you're at your customers are out at events and they find the doppelganger for Jeff's truck, the right color and the right name,
And they're sending it to me.
and they're sending it to us.
Yeah.
We're like,
Not surprised.
no.
Not surprised. I mean, Jeffrey seriously has like a clone truck. Like if there's a glitch in the Matrix, it is Jeffrey's truck, right?
Yes.
The one separating piece is the Conestoga wagon cover, which is now go back to your setup. You're going to the movies.
So we leave the side panels on, and we have like our own little private viewing room of the drive-in theater.
Yeah, like have a studio.
Yes. and I take a nice, good-sized Bluetooth speaker, and we have that set up so we can listen to the movie in almost theater sound and just enjoy a nice experience.
I know you guys went at least like 3 times this summer. you
So
know?
we actually twice this year because we took the kids for one of the kids' movie nights.
Okay.
And then we pawned them off on 2 different family members and split them up and went for ourselves on a date night, which was the first time in like 2 years that we gone on a
Nice.
date night. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know it's something like the drive-in movie theater. It was like a staple in American history, of like iconic automotive history. And it's just not something that people think to do very often anymore. Now, Jeffrey has invited us, by extension. And you said it's pretty busy,
Oh yeah.
which is
yeah.
cool that people are still supporting, patronizing those
A few
things.
times I've gone, there's literally a line.
The last time that we went for it was the Deadpool Wolverine movie and Twisters were the 2 movies playing. We got there, mind you, the theater doesn't actually start playing the movie till like 9:00. We got there around 6:00,
Whoa.
and we were 30 cars back in line. When we got into the theater, I had friends messaging, "Hey, is there any spots left?" It was 7:00. No,
No
There was not.
way.
it was the fullest I have seen it since I was a kid.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that's such a cool piece of American automotive, integration. Right? You get to go to the movies and you're there in your cool ride. And
Oh yeah.
your whole family gets in, and like you said, you're using your JT Gladiator pickup truck as your own personal viewing space.
For the 5 of us, because Lily's still free until next week when her birthday is, but she's still free currently. We're $30. You all right over there, Chad?
Scott.
That was involuntary.
The new studio.
That's very soundproof in here.
If you didn't pick that up on air, just so you're in on the inside joke, I mean, Scott's stomach or neck
something.
rumbled or something rumbled, and because of the
Definitely
nature of
came
the
through
new
the headphones.
the new experience in the studio, it came through the headphones as well. And then Scott's face was just his eyes were wide open. He had no control of that noise
No, I
that
was
came through our
trying to stop it.
headphones.
It's like it's just it's in the universe's hands at this point.
It's in the universe's hands.
But the enclosed studio just kept that sound right there.
Oh, yeah.
It did. Kind of like your private viewing area of the Jeep. Oh my God. How much does it cost your family? We got
$30.
Oh, see, that's not bad.
And you
In
get
the-
two movies.
Awesome.
in the world that we live in, that is a bargain to say the least.
Right, especially for 2 movies.
Oh my gosh. In the past 6 weeks, I've definitely tried to get out and do the Jeep things, right? As far as support a number of regionally important events, and or live vicariously through those of you who have, who shared online. So there were, opportunities local at the Andover Jeep Invasion. There was the Steel City Jeep Jam. There was Toledo Jeep Festival, Smoky Mountain. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. There was the local, a number of local club runs and special meetups. And so I really tried to make it a priority to, get out and get to those events. And so like I said, a number of listeners and viewers, came up to me and said hi, and that was awesome. And I appreciated meeting you and hearing the impact that this podcast has on you and your workday. And so, thank you for that. And those were all great events, super fun. When it comes to events, we are actually planning a fun run at Southington Off-Road this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And so we invite you to come out and wheel with us. This is pretty loosey-goosey. We're not doing anything too exciting. There may be a more formalized event in the future. Right now, this is just, hey, we're planning to be there. If you want to link up with us, that's cool,
What time are we expecting to be there so that people know when to meet us?
Yeah, as far as I think an appropriate expectation is we're going to be there between 9 and 10 a.m. We're going to be I think what we're going to end up doing is either, depending on the size of the groups that are planning, or the size of the group that meets up. I think that the plan will be to be fluid in our approach, but oftentimes none of us are out there to really wreck our Jeeps per se.
Nope.
And I think that it would be fair to say that if you are a person who is a novice wheeler and you have been looking for an opportunity to go where you feel that you are going to be supported, arguably kind of, without too much contention or condition, right? That you can be almost a safe opportunity to get out and kind of explore, especially a kind of a local property. This is that, if we have some more advanced wheelers, we might break off into a secondary group who wants to go out and kind of push the limit a little bit. But realistically, I know a number of people reach out and go, hey, you know what? I love my Jeep. It's pretty stock, or it might be built to the hilt, and you're just, trying to get out there and kind of be comfortable in your wheeling experience. This is what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be bridging that gap where you can come wheel with us and kind of be part of the firsthand shenanigans. The Savage will be doing some video content. We'll be, going through that process. So if you want to be in one of our YouTube videos, this will be a great opportunity for that. And-
Additionally, if you are going to go, make sure that you go on their website and sign the waiver ahead of time.
Absolutely. And that's what I was gonna say. And this is an open a park that is kind of open to all 4x4. So, so from mild to wild, as far as your build is concerned, we're here to kind of support you through the process, and we'll figure that out when we're on site.
And to help you out, since there is like 80 million zillion blue Gladiator trucks that have Enigma on the hood. If you are looking if it's us or not, on the back of Jeff's tailgate, it has I Speak Jeep decal. So
That's true.
that's your hint that you found us.
You can weed out all the other blue JT
Yeah,
Gladiators.
the other 80 that'll be there.
Oh my goodness. So that's coming up this weekend, and we look forward to seeing, some of you out there with us.
There's one other way, and I wasn't going to say it, but I will now. The most definitive way to tell mine apart from the rest, the bug deflector.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just for the copycats.
I have heard the copycats out
Yeah.
there who are like, we have Jeff's Jeep at the show. It just makes me sick to take it at this point. But people constantly, it's the most ducked Jeep I've ever seen.
We just need to embrace it and make an SFJ bug deflector at this point.
Oh my God. And I mean, and people the most regular, authentic, they'll come up and be like, oh, I like that deflector. And I'm like, stop it. Stop it.
Remember the first year we took it to the show? We would have sold like 30 of those bug deflectors if
I
we
know.
would have had them.
I know. That is the truth. That is truth. Now bug deflectors are only cool if you put amber lights in them. It needs to look kind of like a Raptor.
Not here for it.
Well, as far as making it look like a Raptor or putting bug guards on or Conestoga wagon covers or whatever it is, the art of the build is our concept at hand, the conversation that we want to have with you. And as we progress through this season, kind of marching into the winter months, we really want to talk about the art of blah. And so that is kind of the minutia, the finities of process or parts or why someone would want to do something, right? It's the little intangibles. It's the creativity, it's the imagination that goes into why and how we do things. Not just as, humans or enthusiasts, but specifically as SFJ 4x4 and automotive enthusiasts, right? And so the art of the build is this idea that in the Jeep community, in large part, we can log on to, kind of any social media platform, and there's somebody who has said, oh, I'm getting my Jeep built this weekend, or I can't wait to build my Jeep. And there's this whole ideologue, this concept, this umbrella feeling about building your Jeep.
Yep.
Right? So what constitutes a build? How do we feel proud about that build? How do we share it? How do we, go on and so forth? And why do we do it? Right? And that's the conversation that we're going to unpack today in part, right?
Yeah.
So here's the question, right? Because I'm going to get a little fired up in the process. Is a tire and wheel package and a lift kit a build?
For that person, it is.
No, absolutely not.
Wow.
Not a build. Not a build.
Wow.
I'm gonna go and say, like my wife has a saying, everyone's reality is right and just, because that's reality. So everyone's build, for that person, it's a build.
I'm going to hit you with this one. What if it was, a $15,000 tire wheel package and lift kit? $15,000. Is that still not a build? That's a lot of money.
So does money constitute build?
I'm gonna take him out at the knees. A grill guard and a bug deflector for
Not a
someone
build.
is a build.
Nope.
Oh
No.
Hot
pass.
That's a
Hot
that's
pass.
A no.
Hot pass.
That's a no.
Right? And so this idea that we see this this conversation online, and then we're gonna also talk about and get into the built not bought statement, because I get pretty fired up about this one at this point. I've had a realization that I've kind of worked through and kind of had an epiphany, and I'll share that with you as we get through the conversation. But let's get back to this. Does the finances equate it? Does the grill guard is my reality that
Well, Joe Burrow said, I reject your reality and substitute my own.
right?
So
Right. And it is 2024. So let me let me go ahead and say, like, I get, like, I'm here to support everyone equally in whatever their pursuit
The
is.
reason why I say what I do is because some people won't start with a bug deflector and a grill guard for a build because they think, I have to go the whole Monty, or because I can't, I won't start. Well, you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if that sadly is a bug deflector and valve cover caps as your first build, well, welcome to the club. Hope you do more the next time.
You are so kind.
So-
you are so kind.
And
I'm sorry. I think that the little decorations don't constitute a build. That constitutes decorating your Jeep and,
But for s-
making it your own, but it's
I
not
understand,
a build.
but for someone taking their grill off and putting your
Insert
behind it.
Yep.
was
I
pushed.
did that.
Monumental.
I
Was-
did that, and it's still not. That's not a build.
I understand, but that's
Oh.
that's pushing their boundaries. That's getting a tool in their hand, and that's something they may have never even thought about doing before that. They may have never opened their hood before. And why I am sensitive to that is because I've grown up in the car community, so I've always known how to change oil and take a tire off and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And I spent, I don't know, 30 years, 25 years, just talking to everyone, thinking everyone had this ability, and you used to
Right.
remind me on a
We-
regular. Not everyone had a lathe in their garage.
Yes, sir.
Not everybody had a lift. Not everybody had tools. And so I've really checked myself and been like, while yes, I can see where that's personally not a build, but that's because I did that when I was in diapers,
Right.
and we've progressed.
And that's where
So-
your skill set and experience comes into the picture versus that other individual. And so you're constituting a build as welcoming an individual into the auto community wherever they are starting.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And I feel that, and I get what Jeffrey's saying as well, to say, hey, you're decorating. We then have this this concept of outfitting, right?
Mhm.
So we know that there are, because I got to be honest with you, there's other shops out there that they're specifically truck accessories, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I'm going to just lean on the truck accessory
Yeah,
market
truck
as
outfitters.
they are truck outfitters, right? They are not truck build shops. I'm going to just be very frank. I would not trust that $15,000 lift kit, right? Because I'm going to use that as your example and bring that to center. Is go $15,000 lift kit. You're probably cutting off control arm pockets. You're setting up the geometry of a weld-on truss of sorts. You probably are 3-linked in the front and maybe a triangulated link in the back of some capacity. Maybe we've even relocated the gas tank. I'm not going to take that to a truck outfitter, somebody who normally puts on side steps and a tonneau cover and vent visors,
Yep.
and be like, hey, I want you to build my Jeep, my truck with this $15,000 lift kit and entire wheel package,
Mhm.
because they're an outfitter, right? And so I think a lot of enthusiasts in the industry get a little bit blindsided because they buy the Jeep, they buy the Gladiator because they think it's a truck, and they go to the local truck outfitter, and then they want quality, capability, overlanding.
Or they just want it to look like the other person's Jeep, or they want it to have a certain beef to it, and they don't realize what it takes to get to that point.
Correct. And then they end up with an economy lift. I see it all the time, an economy lift and an economy tires, and now all of a sudden they're wondering why their vehicle immediately has to get rebalanced and is darty on the road, and then they
Correct.
blame it on the platform. It's just like if from episodes previously, I get so fired up when I see a Jeep burn down. People are like, well, that's just Jeeps. No, that's your crappy wiring. Stop taking shortcuts
Yes.
and or blindly trusting Jim Bob's Garage to put on your light bar or sound system.
Well,
for you.
and when you're going to go do a build, and it doesn't again matter if you're doing a bug deflector and valve cover caps, you have to have a plan. You have to have some sort of follow through. As over the weekend, I got fired up. I actually had to go take myself off the internet because
You put yourself in internet
I put
timeout.
a timeout because someone had asked a good question. They're like, "Hey, I'm so far into this project, and I recognize that maybe I should go just a little bit further." But the way I took it was, I'm not prepared to go the extra little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I've occurred to myself that maybe I should.
Mm.
And my thing then was, no, you've already gone to where you wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to go back out of the project. And even though this might make sense and might save you 15 to 30 minutes work time, the next time, you just need to finish your project and stop. Because
Yes.
we have been stuck
The worst.
where we're like, well, we should do this. And now we do that. Next thing you know, our Jeep's on jack stands for 6 months.
100%. And project paralysis analysis
Yes.
is the number one downfall of personal projects
Yep.
or forward progress.
Yep.
And I'll own a spade, I'll call a spade and own my indiscretions, because if you're somebody who's local, you'll come in and you'll see that our showroom is still under construction 2+ months later. Now, granted, we prioritized the construction of the podcast studio in that time frame, but our original intention with that space was a very succinct little reconstruction of the front end of our establishment.
Yep.
And at this point in time, as we got into it further, we're like, oh, well, we should just do this.
Yep.
And now we should do this. And it becomes a very slippery slope
Yep.
of now the build has progressed into territory that basically comes paralysis analysis.
Well,
and
you
you're
only have so much time. You only have so much resource. And one of the people pushed back on my comment because I was like, are you having further problems? Is it actually causing
warrant? Is it
Is it necessary?
Yeah.
Are you noticing a leak? Are you seeing a reason why you need to do this now? And they're like, well, it's going to do that. And it honestly fired me up because I was like, well, okay, so if you take your wheel off, are you going to do your brakes?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Because
are you?
eventually your brakes will
Because
need to go on.
eventually your brakes are going to fail. Well, no, you're going to look at it and make a judgment call. And I said, it's definitely the specific part. You don't want to use a substandard part. And they're like, well, who's saying that we would do that? It's Sunday on a holiday weekend. If you made a game time decision at 2:00 on a Sunday
to like replace a water pump,
to
you're saying.
do something like that, you have very limited choices. You're going and you're hoping something's in stock. You don't care what brand it is, and you're putting it in.
See, and that's where we're going to come back to service versus a build, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the challenges we have as a highly functional service and build facility is the fact that we're not just calling AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Napa, so on and so forth, to just bring in any rando part.
Yep.
And I think that outfitting and or general service, people who are just going point A to point B in their blah vehicle, they don't care when the ball joint fails. They don't want to replace all four because that's, your average consumer is like, well, did all four fail? No, but you should replace them all in conglomeration because they work as a cohesive unit. And then, they go to Jim Bob's and Jim Bob will replace a failed ball joint
with I know you wouldn't do this, but so not trash other businesses, a Wish ball joint, then you might as well
We're
left.
trash and Wish. He said
That's
we're not Temu ball joints.
Yes.
Yep, there you go.
It's fair. They had it coming. Anyway, it's some scary thought. You actually might have a better quality ball joint that's worn than the cheap
That
junk
you're putting
that
in
you're
right
putting
now.
in.
Mm-hmm.
And people just automatically think, well, because it's new, it's better. Nope. That doesn't mean anything.
Correct.
And I've been in that mousetrap where I'm like, well, it's it should have these. There should have that. As it actually failed, is it actually bad? And that's like Neil was saying, totally different than if you have it at a planned service.
Mm-hmm.
You have gone in intelligently. You've picked your parts, and you know you have an ailing ball joint. And you go, hey, you know what? I'm going to invest in a quality part. These are going to take me the distance. We're going to replace all 4. Now you had a plan. You thought it out. You picked your product. You made sure the product was in stock. You did the job.
So I kind of feel like what you're trying to set up is that a build has
A plan.
some intentionality,
Yep.
and it might be part of a bigger process,
100%.
and therefore differentiates from service
Yes.
or kind of a generic decorating.
So you have stage 1 of the build, stage 2 of the build,
Yes.
stage 3 of the
and
build,
because you're doing it with intention, because you're doing it as part of my bigger overall goal, dream,
Yes.
and reality, per
Yes.
Scott and Joe Brella.
A service is going to be reactionary. Oh crap, this broke. Now I need to service it, or I need to maintain it to not have it fall apart on me like an oil change. Where a build is going to be a plan, a thought out process. And if it's not, spoiler alert, that's what you should be doing.
Right.
And I'm gonna add the term an improvement on the Jeep
Yes.
or the vehicle.
So why are we building, right? Because I'm still not sold. I'm not sold on the your reality is that a grill insert and trim coating is a
Also,
build.
Fred's in the comments saying, is putting a 400 horsepower 401 in a Grand Wagoneer a build?
We're just swapping engines. Is that a build?
Well, that goes along with a myriad of other things that need to be touched, but
Well, and so kind of the why would we do that, right? So I mean, Fred's conversation is why would we want to put the 400 horsepower 401
because we want to break the transmission.
So before we even get to the why build it, let's just talk about built not bought as part of that conversation, because I think we need to define what is a build, what is bought, what is
I'm going to take a quick
decoration.
moment. I'm going to take a quick moment because I think that the built not bought mantra was massive 20 years ago. It was
a way to throw shade and make you feel better about yourself, about the common person next to you at a car or Jeep event.
right. And I think there was a time period where the automotive industry, we didn't have as much catalog options, internet options as we do now.
Yeah.
Prior to the JK, and this is what I was going to say, JKs and JLs, and there's their own contentions in both of those platforms, but things were less available with so many options and such expediency.
I mean, if you were going to build your Jeep in a TJ world, you were going to buy an axle out of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to make your own brackets.
Yep.
You were going to weld things. You were designing the geometry. You were figuring out. Now you want to do that with a JK or a JT or JL.
Yep.
You pick up the phone, hopefully call SOJ 4x4,
Sure.
order your crate axles and your long arm lift kit. Your credit card needs a chill down,
Yep.
and you have a built Jeep that everything bolts together.
Sure.
It's a
And
big difference.
It's a big difference. And also, if we get to just the builder market alone, we're no longer buying a big stick of square stock, right? Because I mean, I came from a household, my parents were both teachers. My grandfather and parents on one side, or grandparents on one side were farmers. On the other side were kind of electricians and industrialists of sorts. And, we didn't have access to, we couldn't go out back and find a pile of good quality rolled steel and just kind of get a notcher and a bender and the lathe. I didn't have the resources that you say, that you tell people, you just naturally grew up with it. You went out to the back shop and there it all was. But the guys and gals who were able to do that were then able to go out and build their own link systems, their own coilover geometry layouts, their roll cages, all that kind of stuff. And so it was very challenging for us as an industry. I did a lot of junkyard shopping because for me, pulling quality parts that were close enough that I could then modify, already constructed parts that I could modify from the junkyard off of a alternative vehicle application and upgrade mine was a big part of what I had control over.
Yep.
And so where we had Fred Brown and yourself who were actually making control arm links from scratch. I'm out pulling them off of a Dodge, D150 or something, coils and steering and axle setups. So, we had this, and there was this mantra, like you said, there was this automotive flex where you flexed on somebody else because they just swiped their credit card at that time.
Yep.
All right. So here is my contending conversation, because obviously I think it's simmered some, though they're in the JK community. A lot of people threw shade over the bolt-on nature of the JK platform, giving way to the JLs and JTs. Here's the thing, folks. If you buy a piece of blank land, right? So you go into whatever housing development, you buy a couple acres, in, I don't know, backwoods of West Virginia, and then you hire a general contractor to, break ground for you.
Yep.
And handle all of your soil testing and permitting and regulations, and you play a pivotal role in the design and layout of the house and check in with them, and you're heavily involved in what that home is going to look like. You tell all your friends and family, we're building a house.
Mm-hmm.
I built a house. That's what you end up saying. We as a society accept the fact that a person who has paid a general contractor or something to that effect, despite not swinging the hammer even once,
Mm-hmm.
even if you did it a little bit, we still go, yeah, that's cool. They just built their house out on out on the road, south of town.
Yep.
Did they swing the hammer? Did they lay the block? Did they run the electric? No, we don't say that as a society. So why do we kind of cast shame on somebody who has had a shop do X, Y, and Z for them?
Especially,
We need to stop it.
I take contention of that and I've had it happen my whole life at car cruises. When somebody wants to come up and judge a build or judge a car or the capability or that, and they don't even have any of that. And that always rubbed me wrong. Like, you can't go and judge someone for what they've done when you yourself don't have that and haven't done it.
Yeah.
You have no idea what it takes to do that. That's one thing that was fun with hashtag not a restoration is Ryan, the owner, had never thought, wasn't a blip on his radar to do a build to that level. And he enjoyed the process so much because we drug him willing and unwilling through the process.
His wife would say unwilling on my accord. Neil made me do it.
But he learned so much, even though he never put a screw in, he never painted a bracket. But I showed him pictures. I brought him along through the process, just like a good general contractor for that house is going to say, okay, it's time to pick the color for the bathroom. It's time to pick the counter in the kitchen. And you are drug willing and unwilling through that process. And sometimes if you want a project done in your lifetime, you have to do that.
Yes.
Even though me and Neil continually don't learn that, and we have to build everything by hand.
We make a lot of bad choices so
Yes.
that you, our listener, don't have to.
Mm-hmm. So that's also why it takes me 5 years, which is an uptick from the 15 it took to build my wife's Jeep.
Yep.
And he's hand building his house and learning all the reasons why you don't do things a certain way.
Yes.
And we enjoy that process somehow because we keep doing it.
Masochism. I think it's masochism.
We had a conversation about that.
Yeah, I think
recently.
it's masochism is really what it comes down to.
I think it was Thursday or Friday. We're leaving the shop after working on the studio, and Davey just looked absolutely defeated, and I'm like energized and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And I said something to Savage.
I got kicked.
Yeah, I got kicked while I was down. That's
Yay.
absolutely right. I'm like, that sucked. Yay, let's do it again, guys. We do that so you don't have to.
That's literally what it felt like.
Yes.
In the comments here, Fred saying also includes rebuilt 727, new carpet, and reupholstered seats. That's a build.
Yeah.
That's a build.
I feel better now that you said rebuilt transmission.
Then we've got Scott Lindquist saying, I'll build my house all day, but leave the Jeep building to you guys.
And you know what? And at the same time, we're going to give credit where credit's due, because if it's done with intentionality, and I always like to use the phrase, we created a business to meet the Jeeper where you are at, right? This concept of kind of enthusiast first workmanship and approach, right? And so whether we want to go where the Jeepers are, right? We actually need to be in those spaces with them, but we want to meet you where you need us to be. So if it is with intentionality that you would like us to put on your hood hinges and your grill insert, and that is the start of your build, and you're going to be back in 6 months and we're going to do more, and it's not reactionary, it is with intentionality, maybe that is your build and we're going to meet you there. Or you want to go all in and do a full nut and bolt restoration or performance build because that is what makes sense to you. And like Scott Lindquist, he is off busy revamping commercial buildings and houses, and he is the quality general contractor of sorts. Well, he's not actually a general contractor, but he is the guy who's managing the projects to make sure that these other businesses, institutions, and individuals get where they're going in their projects.
Well, and then on top of that, we've had other people come in, not that long ago, someone did, that they're building a vehicle at home. We've never seen it, but they need help figuring out what parts they need, what the logistics of that is. Do I actually change this part or that part? Oh, no, I need to do it this way. And we will help you buy parts and lay out your build. And here, all we did was tell you what parts are appropriate, how they come or don't come. Build a worksheet of sorts and say, okay, now we're going to make a pile of parts for you and you're going to take them home and build yourself.
Yeah.
We will meet you where you're at.
And that is I don't think there is a difference between built, not bought, or bought, not built. I think it's a bunch of baloney at that joint. The double B is a bunch of baloney.
It's
right?
a waste for someone that needs to feel better about themselves to put someone else down.
Absolutely. It comes from a position of insecurity on an individual, and that old mantra of, well, it must be nice to just swipe my credit card. No, you know what? If that person has the ability to swipe their credit card to do X, Y, and Z, that means they've worked their butt off in some other capacity to make that opportunity. It's, again, it was what I was bringing up with Scott Lindquist. He's working his butt off doing something else. Heck yeah, he deserves every bit of building his Jeep with or through SFJ 4x4.
At the end of the day, all it is you turn around and look back at your vehicle and go, man, I like that. That's cool. That's all it needs to do.
And I think that right there is the answer of why do we build, right? The art of the build. I hope you enjoyed that one, folks. If you're the one who's kind of slinging that built not bought mantra, I hope that's something we shared maybe plants a seed in your mind, and you go, yeah, you know what? I did say that my grandfather built his house even though he hired a contractor or whatever. If you're an adept individual who's built everything, man, good for you. And we wish you the best, but.
It gets tiring to build everything.
It
yourself.
It does. And that was part of
the three of us know that way too much.
And that was, again, a testament to where we're at in a business right now. But even still, like I said, with as much as we have going on within this establishment, we're looking to expand and bring in some other competent individuals to fill different subcontracted processes. So. The art of the build. So we do have a game. We want everybody to kind of hang in there for a couple minutes. We have a little activity. I don't know where it went. It was in the studio. It was hidden.
Hiding behind the lion pillow.
So to be fair, Jeff needs to get his first.
Jeff is getting his first. Fairness. Why?
Okay.
Why is?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, he might need, he's already reaching for his tool.
He did. He reached for scissors. So Jeff is like the kid who's inching forward on the start line.
Yes.
You're the worst. Why do you have those scissors wide open towards me, Jeff? Stop it. Jeff has got, it was like he's about to like something out of a Hollywood movie. You're going to cut your fingers holding the scissors like that.
Oh,
I will remark, I meant to remark on your shirt. First of all, I walked in. It's September 2. It's September 2. He is already wearing last year's signature spooky season limited edition hoodie, which
I was like, I see you, Jeff.
I saw that and I thought he loves Halloween, so I'm going to let it be. I hope you get to decorate this year. You've been so busy.
I know.
The last 2 years you didn't.
I'm
You didn't do it
actually
last year.
surprised he hasn't started decorating.
I'm hoping
already.
that because he's not. Oh, boy. And for our listener at home, he's already wearing like a jack-o'-lantern T-shirt. So it's September 2. I'm still on summer vibes.
Yes.
Don't kill my summer vibes, And Jeff's over here ready for pumpkin spice.
Yes.
Yep, you are the most basic.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you.
So anyway, what do we have
Halloween
in our,
enthusiast, basic Halloween enthusiast. That's what I was trying to say.
Nice save.
in our hands? We have this little off-road vehicle, generic. Davey was already asking what brand it was. This is a I will not get sued for any copyrights off-road vehicle.
It is a balsa wood, so it's what, about 10 inches by 11 inches or 8 by 10 or something.
It has assembled size in millimeters.
I can't create that conversion. So and what this is this is Harbor Freight. It was affordable. It's a balsa wood model. It says it's for ages 8+, and it's only 38 pieces, right?
Only.
And
Yeah, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years. I
that's
thought
why
the
Davey's
8+
not doing it with us.
was clear.
Yes, but it's not. So we are going to. They're still sealed in their plastic packaging, which is why
Jeff hasn't attacked it yet.
Jeffrey was reaching for his scissors to shank it. We're gonna set a timer, and I think we're gonna go ahead and take, since it's for 8+, we're gonna take 8 minutes, and we're gonna see. Now we have to punch it out of the balsa wood. We're gonna kind of work through the process for you on air and for our listeners, kind of describing what we are doing and seeing and then the process. It's super generic, but it basically is the equivalent of an FJ Cruiser and a 2-door Wrangler had a really ugly child that they try to hide from society. It's that, right? And so I'll hold it up for the camera. We're not going to link it in the description or any of that baloney. It's $1.47 at Harbor Freight. Go buy it yourself. Are you guys ready? We're going to do an 8-minute timer. We're going to say, oh, they're going. They're going. Cheaters. I haven't even got my razor blade out yet.
I was hoping the plastic tab on it would have broken the plastic sheeting.
Oh,
it did
no,
not.
it just ripped off of my hand, in fact. I
Didn't
still
bring the
haven't
right
got it.
tool.
I'm still cutting
bring the
away
right
from
tool.
myself. Safety first.
I brought a screwdriver.
You did.
I love that we all have unique ways of getting the package open.
Not like,
There's sandpaper with it.
oh gosh, we have to sand things.
Oh, this-
Fitment.
I'm not sanding
Two
nothing.
sheets of parts. I thought it was one sheet.
Fitment might not be guaranteed. I feel like something already popped out on me. That's the window for the chassis itself. There are no instructions.
Yes, there is.
There's,
there is.
I found the instructions. Oh my god, it's only 5 steps, but
5 steps, but each step is like 100.
I'm gonna lay all my parts out on a table first. Where's Greg? He would have a table set up. He would be laying
We
stuff
need flat
out.
surfaces.
You would have found the
He-
instructions after.
Where's your coffee table?
Scott, right?
You need your TV trays, grandma's TV trays that
Grandma's
Davey
TV
would not let you put in the
So
studio.
here's the thing, folks who have contributed to the studio so far.
Well, we do have one in the studio.
We have them in the studio. If you have contributed like a toy or something unique or something like that,
You
it's
need to
here.
be looking for it.
You need to be looking for it, or you can ask about it. It is still in the studio, and just because it might not exactly be on screen. Why do I have 5 wheels? Does this have a spare tire? I have
It's
6
an
wheels.
off-road vehicle. It's got a
I have
5-tire
6.
rotation.
I have 6. It doesn't have a 5-tire rotation. I have 6 wheels. Why do I have 6? Are they dualies?
There's more than 6.
There's more than 6?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh, they're like dualies. They just keep going. I have no idea what this piece. It's just a square. I'm just gonna pop this chassis out. I'm starting from.
I don't think the 8 minutes was enough time. I'm just putting it out there.
It was clearly enough.
Meanwhile,
You've been
Scott's is
sit-
already assembled over.
Gonna say, you've been sitting at the desk too much in the last year, producer. Why is Scott's put together already? Why it's happening? What?
We're still punching pieces, and he's
I'm
over there
still
done.
punching pieces. I think he's built a lot of balsa wood models in his life.
My 10-year-old may have already built one of these.
Oh, that's you, son of a gun! I had no idea.
Right?
I didn't help him. He just did it himself.
I'm punching balsa wood pieces still. What am I
Bill
sanding?
wants to know if stealing parts is allowed.
Oh, I'm gonna be.
I don't have to.
I'm throwing stuff at Scott. I'm throwing it. I'm punching out my headlights just so we know. There's going to be a vote for like whose authenticity? Who took the time to actually punch out their headlights? That's actually a category now. Just made it up. But
Just made it up. You
I,
feel
just-
better
I
about that?
feel better.
Jeff's using his computer. It's an unfair advantage.
Oh, he has a flat surface. I'm using my leg.
Yeah, I have a flat surface that once we go to end the episode, I'm not going to be able to because I have no flat surface to access the keyboard.
I don't even know what these pieces look like. It's Mr. Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man. I'm actually just making. Look, nothing that's eating. I've made Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man
He
on my
literally
leg.
has the Pac-Man skateboard on his leg.
I've got
Oh,
three
that's
little
great.
dots. It's like the dots where you follow them. I'm actually going to take a picture. We might post it with something later.
See,
That's
so
for
their mistake was
that's
they
for our
popped,
Patreons.
they popped all their parts out at once. You pop
Oh.
them out as you assemble
I feel like
because now your parts are running away.
but I don't even know what the parts are.
That's where I'm at.
I should have looked at the paperwork. I should have looked. Scott's actually following the instructions. I think that's part of the problem.
Ish.
Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing now. Oh, pop that out. Pop this. There's so many little balsa wood pieces. Now, Jeffrey, with your and Kristen's lasers, can you build us a balsa wood
Yes.
generic, we will not get sued model of Jeepness? What
Yes.
is-
Yes, we can.
What? Okay, this goes here-ish.
What?
Just so we all know, we've got 3 minutes and 53 seconds left on the timer. Does
Oh,
anybody
Is that it? That's
does
fine.
anybody look like a Jeep at the moment? I don't even know where the other side of this body is.
There's my non.
Why does yours still put together? You have a grill on it.
I know.
Why does Scott's have a grill and a bumper already? It's so well put together. I haven't even got I got my little silhouette pointed out. Now I'm speed putting together. Oh, shove that over here. Push that together.
It has doors ish, so obviously
Oh, it's got a steering wheel.
Neil's not gonna like that.
No, I'm going to obviously omit the doors immediately. Mine doesn't actually require doors. Yours does. Yours does. You have to do it. Oh, I assembled it upside down. Oops-a-daisy. Let's turn that back around. Let's turn that around.
Oh, did I too?
I have one side upright, one side down.
Yeah.
It would be.
Oh, yeah, he says.
It would be fun.
Oh, it fell apart. It fell apart.
We should have a contest. Who gets
No, we shouldn't.
who gets the balsa wood model after it's done, and you get it just the way it as the
Just
timer
the
goes
way
off.
It is as the timer goes off.
You
can
didn't
get
want
Nobody wants Jeff or my balsa wood models.
Well, you can
as
get the other
usual,
parts. You can finish it on
you
your
can
own.
finish it yourself.
What is going?
Oh, there we go. There we go. I have always said that if I am working on the service floor, we're going too slow. I just want to. Wow, there's so many parts here. Where did my grill go? Where did it go?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's held together.
Just so you know, the windshield doesn't fit on the doors.
I don't like windshields either. Mine doesn't need a windshield. I'm exempt from that as well.
It keeps changing.
I'm just making up my rules. I'm going with your reality situation. I reject your reality and insert my own. This is not even going together. This is not even going together. This is where the sandpaper comes
Oh,
in.
that's the back window.
This is where the sandpaper comes in. I've got the axles. You know how much I like my axles. 1 minute and 32 seconds.
Left or to go.
Oh my God, we might be hitting and making the timer go longer. Where's my bumper? Where is my bumper? I can't find. There it is. It wasn't punched out yet.
You're still at the bumper?
Scott, I don't want to hear it. We're gonna have these like on display at like the next Jeep show. We'll just have them exactly as
Yeah, you have
we
to
finished.
pick who did what.
No. Where I have that square. That square is my hood.
Well, to be honest, when we talked about this without Scott, we both said that Scott would beat us at this.
That's
So
true. I mean, let's just be honest. That right now at home, if you have a deposit paid on a restoration, I think you're happy that Scott is the
winning?
person who's winning this assembly process. There's seats and something of Scott's has fallen. Scott's has left the chat.
as he grabs the sheet and throws it across the studio.
Scott has left the chat. He cannot finish it at this point. 24 seconds left. 24 seconds left. Oh my God. Oh my God!
I
There's
told you.
seats.
8 minutes was not enough time for this.
There's seats. I don't even know what these pieces are. Okay, there's that. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. It's a minute extension. A minute extension.
I can't hear that timer.
There's not a timer going off. There's. Okay, pieces down. Pieces down. Pieces down. Here. Oh. Okay. Well. What is that? I did a quick pan at my garbage on my leg. I made Mr. Pac-Man. That's what I have.
I was gonna say mine actually resembles more
Yours
than yours.
has a silhouette. You don't have a grill, so blah. Where's your grill at? You went out of order. Per Jeff, he did not do anything to the instructions. That will come as no surprise to anybody. Jeff did not follow the instructions, and he has no
I had a
grill and
piece
no
over
bumper.
step 2, so I didn't realize there was a step 2.
Flat surface. He had a piece covering step 2, so he had already moved on. He
I'm
moved on to step 3. And he had no idea there was step 2. So I look at Jeff's silhouette of a Jeep. No grill, no bumper, but a hood-ish. I don't think your hood is the right shape. Maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no, it's not, because you don't have the inner core support. Yours is just popped up, sitting upright. So
That's
Jeff's is
not where
just a
that piece
silhouette.
goes.
That's not right. That's not right. Mine's half finished, which is pretty much every project in my life. And I look over to Scott's, and Scott has arguably, other than the half of his panel of balsa wood product that I chucked across the studio, his is virtually assembled.
I have wheels on it. That's what matters.
He has wheels. He has a roof.
He finished step 4. He was on step 5, which
He
is
was
the
moving
final step.
on to step 5, which is making it into a
half
dually.
my wheels are over there.
His wheels have exited the chat. And that is so appropriate for us.
It makes me sad that I didn't get a chance to put my little pieces to hold the wheels on.
No,
So like
yeah.
most of my models I built as a young child, the wheels will fall off.
All right, folks, we are so thrilled that we are back in studio with you. We are going to go where the Jeepers are. As we mentioned, we've got a fun run happening this weekend. You can hook up with us at Southington Off-Road between 9 and 10. We'll be posting a little bit more about that on our social media. You'll be wanting to look for video content of that moving forward. Additionally, we've got a lot of great opportunities to be at events and content for you on Life in Low Range on YouTube in the fall going forward.
We're going to talk about some of these comments really fast before we finish, too.
Give me 1 second, and let me preface the fact that we have our next week, we will be having our countdown. I kid you not, Jeff, this might make Jeff throw up a little bit in his mouth. Our countdown to Christmas. And what I mean by that is,
No.
I might wear a Christmas shirt, in fact,
No.
for it.
Oh.
If Jeffrey's wearing Halloween in September, I might wear a Christmas. What that means
How does
is,
that logic make sense?
No.
if that
Halloween
means,
is the next
I'm
holiday.
jumping over it. We are
skipping Thanksgiving, too.
wanting to have
Always.
our biggest and best Christmas parade we've ever hosted. And that is authentically on Black Friday, the evening of. We are going to have an open house. We're going to have our new bathroom, our studio. All of it will be on display for you to come and check out. And so put that on your calendars for Black Friday in the evening. No excuses. Get here. We're going to be lining up and invading this parade with the biggest Jeep parade, nighttime, Christmas, winter parade in the country. That's my plan, right?
Mhm.
All right. What are some of these comments before we
So,
depart?
Some of the comments coming in as we were trying to assemble this was Chuck saying Neil's making kindling.
That's true. Or Pac-Man.
Yep. Scott can build anything from Darla.
That's true.
Your mom's saying that your son's here. So
Oh.
I messaged Davey to go let him in. I don't think Davey saw it. And then Jerry saying this appears to be Jeep addiction therapy class.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
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 We could be sending this to you as your therapy of assembly,
And
adult coloring.
Linda saying that they need some seat time, so they're hoping to join us on the trails.
That would be wonderful. We look forward to that.
And then coming up for future episodes that you should look forward to, we're going to be doing a race Jeep series and the one that got away.
I think Fred Modus will enjoy that. And actually, we'll probably be talking a little bit about Fred and my enthusiasm for his history and what this aftermarket, Jeep community was at one time. And the one that got away is an episode I'm looking forward to. Obviously, that's about your first ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. So,
No.
folks, we've had a blast, and we're going to continue to reinvest because of you guys and with your help. And so we thank you for, making this endeavor make sense. Again, we have an opportunity with this signage on the back here. We're looking for $600 to $700 to complete that part. And like I said, we're willing to give somebody full credit and maybe a little bit of naming rights in that process to make that happen. So if that's something of interest to you, that is
Or
an opportunity or a group of people, right? Crowdsource it. We want to kind of round that out. It's a very cool piece. We're excited about it. Until then, we've got this ugly tape piece on the wall, thanks to Davey in the process. We've got great content, big things to do. We've got work to be done. Enjoy your Labor Day, and Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.